Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to the first of what will be many Street Fighter 6 videos to the channel. Now, in today's video, after the release of Street Fighter 6's reveal trailer, I know we're a little bit late, we're going to be breaking down the contents of the trailer and seeing what Capcom is bringing to the table in not only terms of the story mode, but what has happened to our beloved characters since Street Fighter 3, as quite a bit of time has passed since the last canonical installment. For those of you who don't know, narratively, Street Fighter 4 and 5 were games that were set after the events of Street Fighter 2 and before Street Fighter 3. So, for the first time since 1999, we finally have a true sequel to Third Strike. So after 23 years, the series is finally progressing forward. But before we do begin, guys, I would super appreciate it if we first could get this video to about 500 likes. It's a great way of helping out this channel, and would also be a fantastic start to the Street Fighter 6 series and content on this channel, as there will be plenty more on the way, with a remake of the History of Ryu currently in the works. Now, back on the topic at hand, Street Fighter 6's story mode. Unlike what we typically expect to see from the modern AAA fighting game industry, Capcom have really gone out of its way to change our perception of what a fighting game can just be. So, instead of having your now traditional standard cutscene driven cinematic story mode, Capcom have instead opted for a far more unique style of telling its story within the world of Street Fighter. And this is done through an open world, with a player now in control of a character that explores the world of Metro City, unraveling the main story's narrative by meeting the main characters of the series. This is a style of storytelling that has not been seen in a very long time. From my own memory and recollection, I believe that the last big AAA fighting game to have done this was Midway at the time, with Mortal Kombat Armageddon. So it's been an extremely long while since the formula has been changed. But yes, quickly touching back on what I had mentioned, the story of Street Fighter 6 also seems to be taking place in Metro City, a rich and lore-filled world that existed all the way since the Final Fight series, the somewhat precursor to the Street Fighter universe, and its presence is seen and recognized throughout, as we get references to Abigail's stage, a statue in tribute to Mike Hagar. Also, don't worry, this is not confirmation of his death, but instead something that honors his time as mayor, so nothing confirms his demise just yet. And we also get a nice little sneak peek at Damned, a callback to the very first boss of the original Final Fight series. He's seen quite frequently throughout the trailer and in the background of the alley stage. As we get more shots, we very quickly see just how integrated the world of Final Fight and Street Fighter are. We get to explore the back alleys of Metro City and areas of stages that we've seen in previous installments. It's a great way of really feeling that this city is alive and more than just what is going on in the stage. Now, going to the player character, we don't really know who this is, and honestly, I wouldn't think too much about it, as this individual is a nameless character and a self-insert for the player. So, I do suspect that not only will you be able to play this character and explore Metro City, but also customize their fighting style. So I believe you will be able to create your own fighter in the Street Fighter universe. But that is a bit of a tinfoil hat theory on my end, not confirmation as of right now. But yes, what is very interesting about this trailer is that we are not just limited to exploring the world of Metro City, but also fight some of the characters inhabiting it. So I suspect it will lead to some very interesting interactions with well-beloved characters, as I guarantee this individual will serve as a plot device to tell the story of Street Fighter 6. Now, with that out the way, let's actually talk a little bit about each of the characters and what has gone on with them, because quite a bit has changed since Street Fighter 5. Our first character is, of course, the main poster boy, Ryu. Now, not too much has changed narratively for Ryu, as his quest and pursuit for strength still continues on, even after cleansing the Dark Hado. His wandering warrior persona still remains, and he still searches for stronger opponents in order to test his strength and might. So not too much is going on with Ryu outside of what we already know, as his quest for strength still continues to grow from installment to installment. Just now, he dons a garb that is very similar to what Oro and Goken wore, paying respect to those that he has learned from. Our next character now is the beautiful Chun Li, and quite a bit has changed with the character. After the event of Street Fighter V going into 3, yeah, I know it's a little bit confusing, trust me. Chun Li somewhat retires from combat. With the death of Shadaloo and Bison now finally gone, she is able to settle down a bit. While she's still a part of Interpol, in her free time, she actually teaches Kung Fu to the orphans in her area, wanting them to be able to protect themselves. But when her hand is forced by the secret society, led by Guile, she is forced to fight once more, saving a young girl from their clutches, Lei Feng. And also, I believe that's who we see in the trailer there. So, a bit of time has passed between the events of Street Fighter 3 to Street Fighter 6, as she is now a young teenager. But outside of that, everything does seem to be the same with Chun Li, as she wishes to go on and lead a very peaceful life. Now, our next legacy character is the all-American Guile. The hardened patriot for the most part, much like Ryu, is still relatively the same. After the climax of A Shadow's Fall and the death of Charlie Nash, Guile continues to serve the military, guiding its next generation, which probably might explain his absence from Street Fighter 3. But now he does make his return, prepping for the very next battle, one that may actually be on the horizon. And joining the cast is still a relatively new character, Luke. Having made his debut during the end cycle of Street Fighter V through its final wave of DLC, Luke was designed to usher in a new age and generation of characters for Street Fighter 6. And this actually includes your own created character for the story, as Luke has been written as a mentor for your character. Now, narratively, Luke is a fighter that has retired from the military and pursued his desire and quest to become an MMA fighter, as his taste for battle still did remain. He takes on students to teach in order to refine his own understanding of combat, which explains why he's an ally to your character. Luke is still a relatively new character, and I am interested, how important is he to the story? Now, our next and final character here, at least as of making this video, is the newcomer, Jamie. Now, Jamie is the next generation's answer to Yun and Yang, the twin dragons. And a fun fact about him is that Jamie is in fact a huge fan of the two, aspiring to one day achieve the heights and success of the two. But he knows that there is only one way to do this, and that is by proving his worth in combat. Now, Jamie trains as much as he can with Luke in order to refine his skills and understand just how effective is his drunken style of fighting, as that is kind of his main gimmick. Currently, this is everything that we do know about Street Fighter 6 narratively. Capcom are keeping their cards close to their chest here, and are not revealing too much about it narratively. And we still do have a ton of characters that are yet to be officially revealed. Yes, I do know about the leaks, don't you worry. We'll have to talk about them at some point, but as of right now, what I find quite interesting about this roster so far is actually the lack of bad guys or ones kind of framed in a villainous light, as we do know in the Street Fighter universe right now that Guile and Urien still do exist, and not all members of Sin and Shadaloo are gone, as characters like Juri, Ed, Fang, Vega, and even Falk do exist here. So it will be interesting to see what comes from all of this moving forward. I am extremely excited to see what is next for the Street Fighter series. This game looks absolutely gorgeous. Its attention to detail is phenomenal, and I do firmly believe that if we keep this level of care and attention going all the way through to the game's release, we could very well get a fighting game that not only evolves the genre, but one that helps define this generation of fighting games and what they could aspire to be. They don't just have to be cinematic experiences every time. Look what Capcom has done with Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. I do believe that after a pretty rough decade of fighting games from them, that they will finally do justice for the Street Fighter series and bring it to the forefront with the rest of their amazing lineup of games. But for now guys, this has been it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this. This is a taster of what you can expect from Street Fighter content on this channel, where I will be doing a history of on each of the fighters on the roster, as well as some old school legacy characters. I will be talking about the timeline to make things a little bit more easier to understand for newcomers. And finally, talk about characters I would love to see return for the Street Fighter 6 roster, because there's a lot of characters, man, and there are some I would love to see return. But for now, this has been it for me. So as always, everyone, stay strong, stay well, and keep on fighting as we all do prepare for the next battle. Take care everyone, I'll see you soon.